good people? Tiffany Javon here back with another video. And today we're actually going to talk about Entrepreneurship 101. So if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, you feel like you have the entrepreneurial bug, or there's some great idea that you come up with that you feel like at some point you want to launch, a new business or whatever the case may be, I'm going to go over these are 5 simple things that you need to kind of know more about, or whatever the case may be, to get you started, to get you going into the right direction, or just give you that framework that you need in order to, catapult you to where you need to go, so that way you can get off your launch pad, right? And so number 1 is that you need to understand what the fundamentals are of entrepreneurship. And so one of the things that when you think about as being an entrepreneur is a person that has like a great idea. You have a great idea, you have a great concept, you have a great something that you feel like a value proposition. You feel like you can offer value in the exchange for money, right? So you can offer a service or product or whatever case may be in exchange for money. And actually says entrepreneurship involves taking risks, starting a company or starting a business, and pursuing your own ideas. And not to say that you can't pursue, any other ideas. Sometimes there are what I want to say, the path that's kind of already laid for you, because there's some ideas that people have started that are good ideas, and you can make it your own. You know what I mean? You can use your own creativity, your own mind, and make it your own. For example, there's so many different people who have started t-shirt businesses. You know what I mean? But you can use your creativity, and there's no you.com, right, or you t-shirts when it comes to what your creative mind can create. And so there's nobody out there like you. There's nobody else with your mind and kind of the different things that you come up with, and the different creative ideas that you come up with if you wanted to start like a t-shirt business or whatever, or if you wanted to start let's say a candle company, or if you wanted to start a service type business, like you love animals, so you want to start a doggy sitter business, or whatever the case may be. Whatever your idea is, you can do it. If you want to open like a little boutique, nobody has necessarily your eye for fashion, because you are one of one. Okay, so you're unique. You have your own ideas. You have your own mindset. And so that's what I mean by if a path is already paved for you, but this is something that gives you passion. This is something that motivates you. This is something that you want to put your own take and your own spin on it. Absolutely go for it. The entrepreneurial mindset. So there's a mindset shift that has to happen with being an entrepreneur. This includes traits like being passionate, being motivated, like I mentioned, being independent, being creative, and while being comfortable in that uncertainty and taking risks. So one thing about being an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to bet on you. Okay, you have to be willing to bet on your ideas. You have to be willing to bet on your creativity and the things that you come up with, right? The plan and the blueprint that you come up with. And it's okay. Sometimes it's it could be scary or whatever, or it can be kind of anxious. It can make you anxious because you could maybe lay out some steps, and you kind of know, okay, if I take these steps, I don't know what will happen next, right? But that's what's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is that you take the steps. You never know, because you took the risk, you get the big reward. Now, granted, not all risks are good risks to take, so you have to do some research, and you have to be sure that you're being calculative when it comes to taking certain risks and stuff like that. But absolutely, you rather that you take the step and maybe learn from the step, maybe not get everything that you wanted from taking that step, but at least you've taken the step, right? You done what most people are afraid to do. Most people are afraid to just step out there to do anything. A lot of people are just stuck. They're stuck on start. They're stuck on idea. They're stuck on something just been in their head. You know what I mean? So the fact that you're already putting things in place, you've already written out a plan, you've already started putting your pieces of your puzzle together, of your business together, you've already started making contacts or whatever the case may be, you're already ahead of the game. You know what I mean? Some people are just not risk takers, and unfortunately, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a risk taker. Okay, you have to be comfortable taking risks. Okay, of course, you only take the risk that you're comfortable taking, but you definitely have to be comfortable taking risks. And then other things that makes are a part of the fundamentals is that you gotta identify your business opportunities. Okay, so learning to recognize problems and unmet needs. So in the market that can be solved with your business idea. So basically, you find a need and you fill it, or you find something that somebody else is doing, but you can put your own spin on it. Like I was saying, the t-shirt business, you can put your own creativity to it. and it will sell. Like there's not a lack of people on this planet. Like there's millions upon millions, actually there's billions upon billions of, like, about 7 billion actually, at least some change of people that's on this planet. And what's happened over the years is that now we have e-commerce, we have online, so where you can not only reach somebody that's local to you, we also can put yourself online and reach people that are, across countries. You can reach other people in other states, you can reach other people in other parts of the world. And so that just really just opens up your target market, your customer base, and it just becomes really almost endless. You know what I mean? So like it's just all about you just getting out there and making it happen. Number one is understanding fundamentals. So that's kind of understanding the fundamentals, right? You got to know what entrepreneurship is, kind of how you can adjust and make that mindset switch, and then understanding how you can identify your business opportunity, finding those needs and filling it, right? Or finding that something that people just can't live without, right? Or they'll want to bite, right? Having such an offer that people will just want to just jump on it, right? Because it's just that good. And so number 2 is developing a business plan. So this is kind of like the structuring of it all. So you want to create a value proposition, defining what is unique, what a unique value is that your business would offer to customers. Okay, you want to do your market research. You want to understand your target audience. You need to know if your target audience is more on the young end, older end. Is it more male, more female? Is it a little bit of both? Is it, you know what I mean? Like you need to know where are they living locally to you, or is it more of a local business, or is it an e-commerce business where your customer base can be anywhere in the world? Like you need to know these things, so then you need to that will kind of help you fine tune your marketing. And then you need to know, how to put some strategies in place to get it done. Financial projections. So you definitely need to do some estimating of costs. You have to, put pen to paper and do some research. Go online, figure out how much it costs. You can Google it, of course, but of course I would use YouTube, because YouTube is like, there's a lot of people that are literally coming on YouTube and actually telling people what they've done and how much it's cost them and different things of that sort. And of course you can do your own research to find out exactly what your startup costs would be for getting started with your business. You need to know if you're going to have a product-based business, how much money you need to start up with that product. If you're a product-based business, you're going to need some type of softwares, or if you're going to need some type of like inventory, or if you're going to need some type of what I'm trying to say, equipment, or whatever the case may be. Like you need to know this stuff. Like it needs to be written down. You need to kind of know what the range of cost is and stuff like that. You need to know what your startup cost is. Not only that, you need to know before you even get started, these are costs that you should know. You should know what your the thumbs up. You should know what your startup costs are. Then you also need to know what your operating costs are. And what that simply means is once you get started, what would your cost be on a month-to-month basis, on a continuous basis? What would you need to keep the business needs to keep making in order for you to stay in business, right? In order for you to break even and even make even more. You need to know kind of what that looks like, what you need to spend, every month on a yearly basis. And then you need to do some projections, when you put your plan together, your business plan, you need to do some projections for yourself. Do projections for 6 months, for a year, for 3 years, for 5 years. You need to know these costs. You need to know you need to know what your break-even cost is. And break-even cost is basically how much do I need to make in order to break even every month, so that way I don't go out of business, I don't go under. And so you need to focus on, of course, that maybe that could be the first step. Focus on breaking even, and then focus on what you can do in order to actually be profitable, right? And actually take in some revenue, or whatever case may be. Another thing is you want to find out ways in which you can fund your business, whether you can OPM, other people's money, right? You find loans, people, what is it, SBA gives out business loans and different things like that. Figure out, if you qualify for that. Go to your banking institution, go to your bank, or whatever the case may be that you built a relationship with, and see what type of, loans and grants and whatever the case may be that they have available out there for new businesses. Because you got to get out here and you got to find it. You got to find how you're going to fund your business. Once you come up with your opportunity costs, or you come up with your startup capital, you come up with that number, what that projection is, then you need to figure out how you're going to fund it. Are you going to fund it out of your own pocket? Are you going to start putting some money aside, or whatever case may be? Because not all businesses have like thousands upon thousands of dollars in startup costs. Like I would imagine with the t-shirt business, like all you probably need to start with is, of course, your t-shirts, your inventory of t-shirts. You need to probably get some ink, and you probably need to have like a equipment machine, right? A press that actually presses out your t-shirts, and then maybe have some type of software or whatever the case may be that you can create your graphics with or whatever. So I wouldn't imagine that starting a t-shirt business probably is somewhere anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Now that's something, of course, that somebody can save towards, right? They can save, for a few months and obtain that money, or already have it in their savings, right? And just see if they really want to take the plunge and bet on themselves, right? And start something small and then build it from there. But then there are also businesses where, startup costs can be a little bit much. If you're trying to open up a car wash or whatever case may be, then yeah, you need to probably figure out. And I ain't say I don't know, I don't know what your pocketbook look like, but typically it'll be somewhere in probably like $100,000 or whatever, as opposed to $1,000. You see what I'm saying? The difference in range of startup costs. So you kind of got to figure. There's so many different businesses that you can start. You know what I mean? But just start somewhere. Like if you feel like Lord, there's something else out here for me to do. For me, I feel like, when the Lord speaks about in the Bible how your gifts and your talents will make room for you, what is it that drives you? What is it that you're passionate about? Like, what talent that you have that you can actually monetize and make money on? Like, people can sleep on that stuff. When people are like, love cooking. Okay, well, find out what you love cooking. And while you have this passion for cooking, that might be what you need to do. You probably need to open up some type of, restaurant, or maybe start small. Open up like a little, a food truck, or start even smaller than that. Open up a little bakery, start with making little stuff here and there. Go to these different schools and stuff like that. These different things where they have teams and leagues or whatever the case may be. Partner with these teams. And see what you can, start where you can start. See what you can do. Partner with these churches and different things like that. See what you can do, right? Number 3 is actually building the business. So customer focus. You want to focus on your customers. You need to figure out, what their needs are, what is absolutely a must-have, right? What's crucial. You may want to start with figuring out how all the ins and outs of your business works first before hiring a team. Because you want to be able to train them. So you want to be able to understand all the ins and outs of your business. This is just what I would recommend. That you understand all the ins and outs of your business before you try to hire and bring people onto the team. Because it'll make the flow of responsibility and getting it done a whole lot easier when you understand all the pieces from A to Z, and then you can train others on, the pieces or whatever that'll help free you up, so that way you can focus on the main items or the main tasks that will actually bring you the most income or the most return, right? So before you hire, a freelancer or a virtual assistant or whatever case may be, make sure you have a handle on what your business tasks are, right? And that you know how to do them. Also, with marketing, you have to market your business, right? You have to put yourself out there, and there are free ways and there are also paid ways to market your business. If you are just starting out, I wouldn't just jump into all the paid ways in which to market your business. I would explore all the different type of free ways. As kind of progress on or whatever, may start with maybe one paid way and just start with a little bit of a budget and just kind of see where you can go from there, right? But just kind of do a little testing. Also be testing your marketing, testing to see what's working, what's not, and don't be afraid to, cut something. Like, hey, I'm paying, some ads with Facebook, and I may do some ads with Google, but I'm finding that my ads with Google, is giving me a better return on my investment than my ads with Facebook. Okay, well then cut those ads off Facebook and redirect those funds to Google, since Google is giving you more bang for your buck. So, just continuously be testing, your marketing to see what's working for you. Also, operations and logistics, figuring out what your day-to-day tasks look like, figuring out, what it's going to take for you to run your business, if you're running it all by yourself, and then figuring out, when will be a great time for you to start implementing, hiring maybe your first person, to kind of help take a couple of tasks off your plate or whatever case may be, and then kind of going and growing from there. Number four is that your key skills for entrepreneurs is that you want to focus on negotiations, because typically when you're in business, you have to, there's different levels of business. Like you have to talk to, other business owners. You have to talk to people that you have to get your banking accounts with, or whatever the case may be. You have to constantly be building relationships when you're in business. And so you have to master the art of negotiation, especially when it comes to dealing with your suppliers and your people that you're getting your inventory from. You have to work on communication. You want to be articulate. You want to be clearly communicating what it is that you need, what it is that you're trying to gain, what it is that you're trying to get, the supplier to understand about your needs and what they need to fulfill for you in order for it to be a win-win situation, mutually beneficial relationship. And then also problem solving. So you want to be able to identify and resolve any challenges quickly that may arise in your business, or whatever case may be. Maybe, you're buying t-shirts or you're buying inventory or whatever from one supplier, and you find that their turnaround time is just super slow, right? Like you need something within a week's time and they're taking 2 weeks. Okay, well, if that 2 week time frame, you realizing like, you know what, I could be making more money if I wouldn't have to wait so long, right? In that turnaround time. So that just means like, okay, not that it's not working with the 2 week supplier, but if you could find a supplier that can cut your time down from 2 weeks to 1 week, now you have your inventory a whole lot faster. So you know what I mean? Like finding out what works, what keeps your business flowing, and how. Then also once you find out what keeps your business flowing, then you can take it up a level and find out what will make your business run at an optimal level, right? To run at its highest capacity that it can run at, right? And then number 5 is that you want to go beyond just the basics. So you want to do social entrepreneurship, which means understanding the different social media platforms. You definitely want to now we're in the day and age where everything is on social media. You have to get out there, right? You have to market yourself. This is how you have to market yourself. So I wouldn't say you start with all the platforms, but you at least need to pick 2. Okay. There's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's Twitter, there's Instagram. Well, Twitter is now X. There's Instagram, there's Tumblr, there's Yelp. There's so many different platforms out there that you can be on or whatever to promote your business, right? To let people know that you're in business and let people know what you offer, whether it's a product or a service. And so you got to get out there, right? You got to get out there and let people know that you're in business, right? Then also you got to work on being scalable, scaling up, going to that next level. Now that you've gotten comfortable, you kind of know what your costs are, you know what your operating costs are, you know what your month-to-month costs are, you know what it is that you need to put in there in order to get a return on your investment, or start getting some revenue. Now, when you know and you kind of figured out and mapped out a blueprint of what's working, then it's time to think about scaling. Maybe pouring more money into your advertising or those money making things that you have in place that's bringing in that return, right? That's where you want to spend most of your time. You want to do an 80-20. You want to spend 80% of your time on the actions and the steps that's actually going to give you the most return for your money, the most revenue for the money that you put out. And then the 20% you want to of course do your administrative tasks and different things of that sort. And then you got to think about the importance of innovation and creating maybe new ideas, new ways in which for people to find you online, or new ways in which for people to connect with you and connect with your business, and whatever the case may be. Like as an entrepreneur, you're definitely always going to be growing, right? You're always going to be growing. You're always going to be thinking. You're always going to be evolving, and so you never want to get closed off to the new possibilities of more creative ideas, or whatever the case may be. And as you go, as you grow, as you learn, as you build a team, as you build a support system, as you find your clients, as you find your repeat clients, as you find your suppliers, as you find your other business connects, because some people just link up with other businesses. You can link up with other businesses and have coffee chats and different things of that sort, and glean from one another, find out what's working for that business that that you may need to implement in your business, whatever softwares and tips and tricks and tools that they're using that you can use, that your business can benefit from. You know what I mean? So I hope that was valuable for you guys. Like, listen, if you guys are like on the edge and like you feel like this spark, but you like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know, and it's just a whole bunch of I don't know. Do it anyway, right? Feel the fear, but do it anyway. Feel the anxiety, but do it anyway. Because it's so exciting to finally hold in your hands, right? Or finally, produce what it is that you feel like this fire about, right? Like you have this passion for this idea or whatever. It's not you don't keep thinking about it for nothing. Like it's not continuously on your mind for nothing. Like it keeps coming up for a reason. It keeps coming up for a reason because you're supposed to be doing it. That's why it keeps coming up. So if I hope that motivated some of you guys to go ahead and put your all into it, and take your steps. Be calculative. Put your plan together. Put your blueprint together. Put your business plan together, and make it work. Step out there on faith. If you take that faith step, God will meet you where you at. Okay. So I hope you guys found value in this video. If you guys have any ideas on what businesses you're looking to start, go ahead and comment below. I would love to see you share your ideas with me. And until my next video, guys, stay blessed. Bye.